sod Microsoft.
Evening all.
Hello. How are you doing, Paul?
Not too bad. Nice to be back, Ian. How are you?
Yeah, isn't it? I'm all right, thank you. I've just had a bit of a disaster. My Drashig fell off the shelf. Yeah, it's not something that happens every day, is it?
It'll be like an ankle biter if you're not careful, because they're vicious.
Yeah, absolutely.
Little bleeders, aren't they? Yeah. I'm so jealous of that catch auction toy. It's wonderful. I wish you'd do the Scarasan like that as well. Having watched season 13, that'd be brilliant if they did.
It would work, wouldn't it? I'd get that with a couple more Zygons, definitely.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
We should do a puppet show, but that'd be crap, wouldn't we? So there we are. I'll put it away later.
Yeah, well, I don't want to be accused of plagiarism, Ian. Anyway, so there you go.
Played you what? I've never heard of them. Anyhow,
ask Russell T Davis and maybe Terry Nation. They allegedly.
Terry Nation would just plagiarize himself, though, wouldn't he? Repeatedly.
Probably, yeah. So it's been a busy time, hasn't it, in terms of news, Ian? Don't you think? There's been lots of things going on.
Has.
Yeah, a lot of things happen.
Yeah, a lot of things that leave you with your head in your hands, really, isn't it?
Oh God, yeah. I'm sure our viewers feel the same. I mean, what's been coming up in the news with Russell coming back, Christmas specials, the war between the land and the sea coming back, and earlier rather than later, and maybe in December, things like that. So there's lots of things to talk about, isn't there?
Certainly is. But thank you to everybody for joining in. All visitors welcome. Please check that you're still subscribed, because we know what a bit of a git YouTube can be. So please check to make sure that you're still subscribed. And if you haven't subscribed anyway, please do. And also tell your friends.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
I just get a feeling I'm going to sneeze in a minute. I'm really sorry if I'll kill my microphone so I don't sneeze over everybody. It's not COVID.
As long as you have a hanky handy, that'll be good. Yeah.
Yes, it's here.
Yeah, good.
Oh dear. So what we got then? What's been going on? Going on?
Like I said in my little kind of list of news kind of items, lots of things have been happening. And do you think we should start with the news that seems to be almost as much as a surprise as the fact that David Tennant was coming back for the 60th? The worst, best kept secret. The fact that Disney have gone. Really? What a surprise! Really? Yeah.
I think if you go back probably about 6 months, we had JT saying exactly that, and we were all in agreement with it. And there was quite a lot of people around and about online, not directly to us, but there's quite a lot of people insisting that it was still in production, that the Christmas special for this year was in production at that point.
Yes,
and it was all there. And of course it wasn't, and Disney was going to carry on, and there was going to be 3, 4, 5 more seasons or whatever, and there wasn't. And like I say, JT called it right at the very start, and so I would take that as a win for Who's Views, quite frankly. But yeah, it's no surprise, is it? It's no surprise.
I think, to be honest, Disney were out as soon as they saw Space Babies, to be honest. If they weren't, I'd be very surprised. Because I think we all were at that point, let's be honest.
I think it's been accepted, hasn't it, that Disney sort of like went into this one, probably regretted the amount of money that they'd put into it straight away, but they used it as kind of like leverage for something else. Wasn't it Bluey that they wanted, the cartoon thing with kids?
I believe so, yeah. I understand. I think that Disney were very indifferent towards the prospect of producing Doctor Who, but they did it anyway to get that, which is incredible. If they pay all that money for Bluey must be a massive success globally for them to spend all that money on Doctor Who and just to get Bluey. That's incredible money, isn't it?
Yeah, it's quite a loss leader, isn't it? And it certainly has been a loss, hasn't it? Really, I mean, there's been nothing from Disney's money that would be even worth a second watch, really. And
there was an article in Deadline, I think we've got it, but we can talk about the kind of salient point of that article if you want to, rather than the whole thing. But from memory, if I remember from reading the article, Deadline had various reasons why Disney left the deal, as it were. And I don't know if you are familiar with some of the facts, Ian, from what came from that article. Do you remember some of the facts from that?
I'd heard a little bit. One of the things that caught my attention was that one of the excuses was something to do with MAGA politics in America,
Yes, yeah.
which I think translated means America now has woken up from some of the lunacy of the previous 4 or 5 years and aren't going down that route of entertaining that stupid ideology anymore.
Exactly.
And therefore Disney are realizing that they can't sell that because there's not really any market to it. And there probably wasn't a market for it anyway, because every other IP that's gone down that route has crashed and burned pretty much, really. I can't think of one successful one that's gone DEI and succeeded.
And survived.
Really.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And
I think
they've
the
all
same
sort
issues
of like failed quickly, haven't they, as well?
Yeah.
It's not been 4, 5, 6 years. It's been boom. Just like Doctor Who with Whittaker. It was shite from the word go, and it just got worse.
Well, I think Disney had, was it The Acolyte, was a Star Wars series on Disney Plus that died a death quickly because that had the similar kind of politics in it, which caused viewers to turn off, which is happening now here in the UK, I think, as well, which is can only be a good thing, hopefully.
Yeah,
But the article,
absolutely.
the article did refer to, was it the executive, is it Bill Iger, coming back to Disney and having a sort of sweep clean of the rubbish that they had being produced. So I think he with the MAGA politics as well. On top of that, he was thinking, well, this is what I need to do, a bit of a reshuffle of some of our output, and Doctor Who was a casualty, which I think is good because as someone said in the chat, they should have read the scripts or tried to have some input that would have affected the content, but they were kind of in bed literally with the RTD and the BBC on this, weren't they? To be honest, weren't they?
Yeah, very much. I can't argue with that. I think that's a reasonable statement, definitely. But I mean, he certainly did bring a bit of a broom. I think if he'd come before the Doctor Who deal had been signed, I don't think it would have been signed. Either that, or he would have said, yeah, but you can only have 10 million or something like that. BBC probably couldn't believe their eyes when they were offered that amount of money. And it's clear that they did not know what to do with it. I mean, there was rumours, wasn't there, about each Doctor Who episode being something in the region of £6 million to produce. And you just think, where did that go?
Yeah.
Where, seriously. I mean, I know it was back a few decades, but JNT could produce 14 episodes for a fraction of that, know. And can you imagine what the likes of Hinchcliffe or Letts could have produced if they'd had that kind of money?
Even if you go back to more recent eras like Jodie and Capaldi eras, the quality of the actual production, script and acting aside, was superb. It looked really good visually, and that had nothing like the budget that Disney offered. So it proves they can do it within a BBC television budget, potentially. I'm not sure how much they had for that in comparison to the Disney deal, but nothing, a fraction of it, I'd imagine. So
then
it can be done. So
you don't need millions and millions, though, do you? Because you don't need spaceships all the time. You don't need huge galactic vistas all the time, do you? You just need good stories. I mean, look at things like Horror of Fang Rock. I mean, for God's sake, that was in studio. That was entirely in studio. Robots of Death, entirely in studio.
Yeah.
You go back to Troughton, Moonbase, entirely in studio for a sixpence. You don't need masses and masses and masses of money. You can do things that are claustrophobic, that are scary, and that's what Doctor Who always was when it was good. And but they've lost the point, really, haven't they?
I'm just laughing very much at Dom Go's impersonation of Bob Iger. I think, that's wonderful. That's probably exactly the very words that he probably said. Yeah. I love that limey referring to the Brits. That's brilliant. I love that. Yeah. Fantastic.
Before we go any further, though, we'll say thank you to Digby Strawbridge for your super chat. Thank you so much, Digby. RTD, the floater that just won't flush. I think he just keep coming back, doesn't he? You know, we need some kind of coat
He's
hanger
blocked,
down there.
to carry on that euphemism or analogy. He's actually blocked the toilet, if you ask me. To be fair, but there you go. But, and that leads us quite nicely up before we go into the next article, that the viewing figures, surprise, surprise, on Disney for Doctor Who weren't very good either, which is another factor in its cancellation, I think, as well.
I think
But
they have the Nielsen ratings, don't they? And I certainly don't think Gatwa's era featured at all, did it? Or in the top 10 or 20 or even 50. I don't think Gatwa's
it was probably lucky to
featured
reach the
at all,
top
did it?
100, I'd imagine, to be honest. But
Probably floated its probably as high as it could float before somebody flipped it again.
But yeah, I was going to say, as I was alluded to in the chat, though, that Russell wrote the scripts. He wrote the scripts. He created the characters, the narratives, the relationships, etc. So he's, even without with Disney, he is majorly responsible for the content, and he's coming back. Oh God.
Yeah, what can you do? John Keeley, thank you. A super chat from you. Good evening, gentlemen. I hope all is well. All is well, thank you, John. All the better because you've joined us. Thank you for that. And as we said last week, we're aiming to be here every week now. No more gaps. But thank you for that. Yes, Paul is back, isn't he?
Yeah.
Hence my tagline there. Do they ever learn? I mean, this is. To me, this is like, you know, they bring the war in Ukraine to an end and then hand the job of rebuilding Ukraine over to Putin. You know, why would you do that? He's responsible for the damage in the first place. And here we are. No love for Doctor Who in the wider public whatsoever. It's lost its core fan base that it managed to keep through 16 years of not being on air at all. Apart from Paul McGann, I'll give you that. 16 years of not being on air at all. It kept that solid fan base. And RTD, in his infinite stupidity, has lost all that. And now the BBC, for some reason, whether it's just a little bit more fan gaslighting or what, I don't know. But the BBC have still got him and Bad Wolf involved. And I just cannot see the logic in that. Are they trying to deliberately kill it? Possibly, yes.
Yeah. I think it's quite sad that they've learnt nothing from the previous 2 years. They've learnt nothing at all from what the reaction was to it, and I can't see it changing any. And I'd imagine that there'll be the similar politics in the Christmas one coming up. There apparently is a Christmas special for 2026, and he's writing it. Will he still be around? There's also talk of a potential another series coming, but people are speculating all the time on various sites on the internet that he's leaving after the Christmas special. I don't think he is.
Why come back in the first place? I mean, he is universally reviled now. I think, apart from obviously his own little group of sycophants. But the guy will only just see this as the BBC giving him a green light for more of his personal politics. That's all that he's going to do. He's not going to do a 180-degree change and start doing good stuff. He's not. And let's face it, and we've touched on this before, when Doctor Who was good when it first came back, it wasn't RTD scripts that were good. You know, it was the likes of Rob Shearman, Gareth Roberts, and others that were the good stuff, not his. And bringing him back, he is not the fix-all that they may think that he is. But it's absolutely ridiculous. But Paul Thomas Ashworth, RTD, he'll never change. Yet another woke Christmas special. No more Tennant, please. RIP Doctor Who. Thank you, PTA. Thank you for your super chat. And I think we have another one as well, which is Mark Greaves. Thank you, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
The Sapphire and Steel train station episode could have been made for less than the food budget for an episode of Disney Who. I can't argue with that. I can't argue with that. Absolute classics of television done on an absolute shoestring. Because they knew how to do it. And Hugh Janus, Always makes me chuckle. Huge anus. Can't wait to see how RTD will try and salvage Doctor Who in one episode from the pile of shite. I am so proud you said shite, not shit. Shite has so much more bite to it, I find.
Yeah.
From the pile of shite he created over 2 years, he doesn't even have a doctor. Yeah, absolutely
Yeah.
right, Hugh. Absolutely right.
And there is, as someone said in the chat previously to you putting these ones up, about the possibility of David Tennant coming back again. It's like they can't do this
No.
again. He doesn't have any credibility anymore. He doesn't have any charisma anymore. People don't want to see him. You know, as much
No.
as I love Tom Baker, he was my favorite Doctor. I would never want to see him come back constantly just to try and revive the series. And I know
No.
they talked about that when they did the TV movie, that they're going to have Tom Baker regenerate into and skip the other 80s Doctors, because the BBC weren't so keen on what they'd done with it. Apparently,
Mm.
that was a rumor that was going about for a long time. But I would never like to see Tom, as much as I adore him, and I love all these episodes. I think that's a real backward step. They've done that with the 60th, and it failed. So why try it
Yeah, I
again?
mean,
You know?
well, they did it with the 50th as well, didn't they? Because they brought him
Yeah.
back for that. And I think
That was
he
one
is,
novelty, at least once was okay. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
every time though,
yeah.
yeah.
But he's like RTD, isn't he? He's just another one of the turds that won't flush. He needs to
Yeah.
go away and stay away. Any credibility he had has long been lost. Marie UK, I saw your super chat was just thank you, Marie. Lovely to see you. All Tennant's projects have been failing lately. Yes, they absolutely have, because he's a prat, and nobody really likes him anymore. I don't think. Again, apart from the sycophants that hang around the likes of RTD as well. That quiz show failed, didn't it? That was shit canned, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
that got one season, was pulled because it was really doing really badly in the ratings. But I
Mm.
don't think he will save Doctor Who by coming back and trying to. And as someone said in the chat as well, if it's one Christmas special episode, let's say it's an hour, okay, thankfully no more than that, and
Yes.
for that's too long. But if they were to try and tie up all the crap they had at the end of season 2 with Billy turning up and all that kind of stuff, I mean, I don't really care anymore, to be honest.
No.
We'll be reviewing it for the channel, and I'll be like, oh god, I have to watch this, but we'll painfully and stoically watch it to review it. But what can he possibly do to polish his turd? Nothing at all, really, to be fair.
I don't think so. I mean, Lee just posted a comment there saying, why do people think he's going to fix it? I don't think he will. I think he will just see this, as I said a couple of minutes ago, I think he will just see this as the BBC saying, yeah, we're happy with everything you've done so far because it was such a
Yeah.
blistering success, wasn't it? Please carry on. He'll see that as validation of his warped mindset.
Well, he's
He'll
no
just go,
humility, has he, to think that it
no,
ever was a mistake or a lot of bad decisions. You know what I mean? He's no humility
everything's
whatsoever.
everybody else. Everything's
Yeah,
everybody
yeah.
else. If it doesn't
It's our
succeed, it's not
fault
because
for
it's that.
complaining
Yeah,
about it. That's why. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Even though
So,
we'd gone and touched grass, now it's our fault for touching
yeah.
grass. You know.
Because in that previous article, Deadline, we were talking about roughly, they mentioned there about losing the fan base, and whose fault was that? It wasn't anything to do with us. You know, it's like,
Well, I mean, you know, they talk about losing the fan base, but they actually effectively told the fan base to f off.
oh
You
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah, and no
so
uncertain terms.
you
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
like in one of the Monty Python films when he tells them to f off, and Cleese's character, how should we f off, please? You know, I mean, we effed off, didn't we? Because we've
Yeah,
been
we
told to.
did. Yeah, yeah.
We're still allowed to talk about it. You know, it's I don't mind what he does as long as he doesn't mind us taking the piss, and that's fine.
But
But
even if I agree with Lee that I don't think he will change any of it because he's too arrogant to even consider that. But it's like, what is he going to do? Is he going to bring Caroline Four back to try and fix what he tried to finish last season and then spoil her legacy as well? What is he going to do? Even if he brings the Daleks back that people are speculating about to try and end it on a kind of big climactic kind of finale type thing, even the Daleks can't save it, I don't think. Do you
no,
know what I mean? So,
no, nothing can save this at all. Marie UK, thank you again. That is so kind. Thank you for your latest super chat. I personally don't like to see past doctors come back, and seeing how they've aged, it takes me out of the show and into reality. Yeah, you can't argue with that, can you? I mean, I know they try and stitch it into the script, don't they? The incarnation ages because of the time differential or something like that,
Yeah.
shorting out. That's just bollocks for saying the actors got old.
I don't think they need to say that. It's a suspension of disbelief. I don't mind when they come back. In fact, I get quite excited. The saddest one was when Hartnell did it, because he was so poorly in the Three Doctors. I mean, that's quite sad. But it
Yeah.
was lovely to see him there, even for the tiny amount he had to do. And every time Troughton comes back, he was wonderful. You know what I mean? Three times he
Mm.
came back. So Tennant's trying to out specialize Patrick Troughton, I think it is. Yeah.
But then Troughton was a fantastic Doctor,
Oh, he
so
was. Yeah,
Tennant's
yeah,
lost,
yeah,
hasn't he?
yeah, yeah,
Really,
yeah.
he'll never match that. But yeah, honestly, I mean, I'm sure between now and December 2026, there's going to be a lot more to talk about as far as RTD and
Well,
the next Christmas special and any futures concerned.
I'm sure you agree with this. I don't think that Billy will ever be the Doctor. There'll be some contrived nonsense around her being bad wolf, or she's been transmatted onto the TARDIS or something like that, or some like Tegan and A Fix with the Sontarans. Can't say that, sure, can I? That kind of thing. There'll be some
Oh,
contrived
then.
reason. Yeah, rattle rattle. They can't really do that because they're very contrived. They want to make it simple. They want to make it accessible if they're trying to do anything at all. But you can't do that. You can't
I
do that
mean,
at all.
we're working on the assumption that there may be a series afterwards, which so soon would be equally disastrous.
Yeah,
But it's, going back to the turd analogy, it's like, you could step over it and move on, or you can tread in it and smear it for the next couple of years, which is probably what they'll do if they do another series.
yeah,
But if there isn't another series, is he going to introduce somebody as a one-off Doctor a la McGann? Because that would be pointless as well, wouldn't it? You wouldn't have any. One of the things McGann suffered with was in the
yeah,
TV movie was for the first 25 minutes, he either wasn't in it or he was a reanimated corpse effectively. And it was
yeah.
only when he got to about the half-hour stage that he sort of like snapped out of the haze and became the Doctor, if you like.
What I think is really quite
And
sad about regeneration or the way Russell's dealt with it. Regeneration originally with Hartnell to Troughton was a necessity to keep the show going. It saved the
mm,
show. Now I think regeneration's killing the show because
yeah,
it's been ruined out of all kind of perspective.
well, it's
It's
a
not.
gimmick,
It's,
isn't
yeah,
it?
yeah, yeah,
It's just been made into a gimmick when the Doctor can rub his hands together and generate some regeneration energy or share it around
yeah,
or any of that tosh. It's not what it's trivializing something that was really a big deal at the
yeah,
time, wasn't it?
yeah.
And now it's you see it several times a series. It was pointless,
And they
really.
just waste. They make it trivial. Like say, they waste the regeneration aspect of the show, which is a genius idea, but it's overused to death now. No pun intended. It really is in terms of how they use it. And the bi regeneration. What an awful idea that was.
Oh.
Honestly.
It was just another example of taking somebody else's idea, i.e., all the way back to 1966, end of 10th Planet,
Yeah,
episode 4. Wouldn't it be fantastic to see that again? And just twisting it and making it really, really crap.
yeah.
Which is pretty much what RTD does. Really, it's somebody else's idea, and he's made it crap.
But I hope
What
they
can you
don't
do?
do a one-off Doctor because I had a rumor a while ago there was talk of like doing sort of specials and doing alternate, doctors doing it. So they get famous
Oh,
people like Hugh Grant to be the Doctor or something like that, or Sylvester Stallone or whatever, and then and then see what happens from that. And it's just
yeah,
a waste. You need
I'd
to
rather see. No, go on.
I was going to say you need to have some investment in that particular incarnation. Like Pertwee did it for 5, Tom did it for 7. Hartnell and Troughton
Mm,
did it for almost like 6 years in terms of episode numbers. You know what I mean? In that
yeah,
respect, they had an impact. You know, and that's why it's such a shame that Davis and Baker and McCoy didn't last longer in their tenures because they had enough time to explore the character. Would have been wonderful, but we never got that. So you need an investment, a time, and all the doctors, they keep saying they've done 5 years, but they haven't. They've done 3 years and probably a tiny amount compared to the classic actors. You know what I mean? So there's no investment in the character, but
when you consider as well how tired Shooty allegedly was, how tired he was at the age of, I don't know, whatever it is it
13 and a
30?
half. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and he was so knackered from doing a fraction of his episodes because obviously he wasn't in them all.
Yeah.
And then you've got somebody that towards the end of his tenure really wasn't a well man, Hartnell, who was
Yeah.
doing 48 weeks a year
Yeah.
for 3 years, solid,
Yeah.
but he was in his 60s, Shooty, he's twice your age,
Well, I have to
and he
correct
did
you.
it without
He was
complaint.
younger than us. He was about 56. So he just looked older. People make that mistake that Hartnell was ancient. He wasn't that old at all by today's standards, certainly. But yeah,
It was just the TV screens of
yeah,
the time made him look
yeah,
older.
yeah, yeah.
We're going to move on from that straight away.
Oh, yeah.
Lex has sent us another super chat. Thank you, Lex. The War Between the Land and the Sea is getting released. Yes, we're going to talk about that shortly. BBC in December 2025 and on Disney Plus in 2026. So Disney Plus won't be getting
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Thank you. Disney Plus won't be getting that on the same day. Sorry, that female computerized voice thing started up. If I say her name, she'll do it again. And Sheila
Alexa.
B, thank you.
She can't
She
hear
heard
me.
you.
It's fine. It's okay. It's fine.
And Sheila B, thank you for your super chat as well. RTD thinks he's untouchable, and the BBC is in awe of him. So I think we're stuck with him, sadly. Yeah, I've got a. Yeah. Sad state of affairs, isn't it?
But it's really shows that there was there's an article about him coming back and about the Christmas special. There's also more talk about the animated CBBC show as well. That one intrigues me more than anything else because I wonder what they're going to do with that. Because like, let's do a show for the kiddies to make the kiddies watch the adult show or the kind of family show when they're a bit older, when they're less petrified of the scariness of Doctor Who.
The thing
When they
is,
grow up
you
a
go
bit.
back to the 60s and 70s. That's what
Yeah,
happened anyway. You didn't need
yeah,
a bloody cartoon to do it. And I
yeah,
bet
yeah.
half the characters are trans anyway. I mean, honestly, it's just,
Well, I
I
reckon
don't
the
know.
cartoon version will be David Tennant back again as the cartoon
Yeah,
Doctor, like he did before. So
yeah. There's just a little bit with somebody like RTD still seeming to helm it, and there being a cartoon specifically for young children. It just seems very, very wrong to me.
yeah,
It
yeah,
just makes me feel there's an awful lot that's incredibly wrong with this. It's the BBC really should learn, but the BBC never does.
yeah. I saw an article recently that was about the current generation watching old Doctor Who, classic Who, like Pertwee and Baker, particularly Pertwee, and being traumatized by the fact it was really scary, very dark, quite horrific in places. And that's what we loved about Doctor Who. That's what
Yeah.
engaged us as kids.
Mm.
So they're missing a point entirely because the scariness of it, even going back to our time watching it as kids, even before that, kids growing up with fairy tales and Hansel and Gretel and all that kind of stuff, Hans Christian Andersen, all the kind of fairy stories were all dark and scary. We've been brought up with that for centuries, that kind of those
Yeah.
scares and thrills, even before Doctor Who. So why can't the current generation accept that and enjoy the thrill of being scared, not being traumatized by it, but enjoying that thrill, that frisson of being afraid, which is half the fun of
Mm.
watching a scary show,
When you think, when we were kids and things, disturbingly long time ago, but the kind of
A
cliffhangers
couple
we
of weeks
got.
ago, Ian, yeah, a couple of weeks.
Well, sometimes it feels like it, but
It does, yeah, yeah.
Mary Whitehouse never got this either. She was always categorically wrong on this when she would go on about how scary the episode endings was. Tom Baker being held under the water, Deadly Assassin, episode 3, as an example that she was particularly banging on about. That that was what, 76, so we were 10 at that point. And she was talking about us, effectively saying that we had to go for a whole week not knowing what happened to the Doctor and therefore were traumatized as a result, because that's her interpretation. But no, she was wrong. We weren't traumatized. It was exciting. We weren't stupid. We knew the Doctor wasn't going to die. We just couldn't wait to see how he got out of that the next time.
Exactly, yeah, but excited by
Yeah,
the prospect of next week, and that was the point.
yeah.
And watching season 13 at the moment, and some of the episodes on that season and season 14 as well. Hinchcliffe knew to do a cliffhanger, some fantastic
Oh.
cliffhangers in his era, which really brought you back to let's come back next week and watch it. And that's what it's all about. It's about jeopardy and tension and excitement, and scares and thrills, not politics.
You look at Talons of Weng Chiang. Was it end of episode 4? Might be wrong. End of episode 4. Mr. Sin advancing on Leela with the knife.
Yeah,
I mean, nowadays, London, that's every bleeding day, isn't it? Several times over. But, in the realms of science fiction and Doctor Who, there's this little horrible pig-type creature advancing on Leela with a knife. And it's like, it was, you couldn't wait for the week to pass to get to the next episode. Not because you thought, for once, you weren't scared about the companion, were you? You were thinking, Leela is coming at Leela with a knife. She's going to kick
he
his
should know
ass.
better. He's in trouble. Mr. Sin's in trouble. It really is. Yeah.
It was at that moment that he knew. Yeah. But honestly, they've never got it though. But keeping up with super chats, we have another one from Lex. Thank you again, Lex. Exceptionally generous. The new Avengers spin-off, Avengers TV series, a new 4K restoration of the classic 1970s TV series, The New Avengers, was released on November the 10th. Oh, right. Okay.
Yes, I saw that advertised because I love the New Avengers. I prefer the New Avengers.
Fantastic.
This is heresy to the Avengers. I prefer that because I watched that as a kid and loved it. I think it was a lovely Joanna Lumley, to be honest. But it was a wonderful series.
It wasn't.
Did you?
Great theme tune as well.
Oh,
Great theme music as well.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I had an original magazine, like they had the 10th anniversary special. They brought an Avengers special or a new Avengers special, and that became huge, which had, I don't have it anymore sadly, but had right back to the series with Ian Hendry and Patrick McNee, the very start of the series up till the new Avengers, like they did with the 10th anniversary special for the Avengers. It was a wonderful magazine. I don't know if anyone in the chat has got that or remembers that of our vintage, Ian, but they may do, so that'd be good. Yeah.
Right. Well, I never knew about that. But we have another one from Lex. Lex, thank you so much. Last weekend, I was talking Who's views about the one game it stars. Patrick Malahide, Stephen Delaney, worth a watch.
Oh, right.
Okay. Take that as a recommendation. Thank you, Lex. Thank you very much.
I love Patrick Malahide, particularly in Minder. He was great in Minder. Is it Chisholm, the policeman in that? Brilliant. Lovely.
Oh, right. Okay.
Lovely Scottish actor as well. Nice. Yeah.
And Mrs. Lisa Pertwee, the darling Mrs. Lisa Pertwee. Lovely lady. Prayers and love to JT. Thank you, Mrs. Lisa Pertwee. Get better or I'm coming over to sort you out, mister. I think he's suddenly ill again. I think we're all ill now, aren't we?
Yeah, we're all ill.
Yeah. We'll wait for you to arrive. I'm sure that'll cheer him up. Thank you for that, Mrs. Lisa Pertwee, for your super chat. That's lovely. I have a guilty secret. I actually like the 90s movie with Uma Thurman as Mrs. Peel, or the Avengers movie with Sean Connery. He was really hamming that up, wasn't he?
There's a wee bizarre thing. They've got giant teddy bears in that, or the villains dressed as giant teddy bears. I remember, which is really weird. And Sean Connery takes his head off the teddy bear, and he's under Sean Connery as a teddy bear, if I remember rightly. I've seen it once, and I think Ralph Fiennes is wonderful. A nice choice for Steed. I can't stand Uma Thurman. That's another story for another night. But I thought Ralph Fiennes a good choice as a replacement for Patrick McNee, but he was wonderful as Steed. Definitive performance.
I just remember one scene of them, and I can't remember the context of it. They were going to something, but they were walking in big inflatable spheres, like big balloons. They were walking like Zorbs.
All right, like The Prisoner.
Almost, a bit. Yeah. I'm sure they were in these big things, or they were in one big ball. Is that from that film? I'm sure it is.
Honestly, I've only seen it once. It was a long time ago, and I don't remember much about it. I just remember it being not as good as even the new Avengers. If you're not a fan of that one, but it wasn't that great. But yeah, each to their own. If we all like the same things, it'd be very boring. I have to say,
it would be very boring, wouldn't it? It'd be very, very, very dull. and there'd be no fights on the internet, and we can't have that, can we?
You can't have that. That's our bread and butter. Yeah. So
Mrs. Lisa Pertwee prefers the original Patrick Whitney. Yes, he was one of those quintessential English gentlemen, wasn't he?
I remember I had a lovely story, an interview with him. He was in Canada filming one of the series, and he bumped into Peter O'Toole in Canada, and he said, "Hi, Patrick, how you doing? What are you doing here?" He said, "Oh, I'm making the Avengers." And Peter O'Toole says, "You're always making the Avengers," which I thought was lovely. Yeah,
It did run for a long time, didn't it?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, another British classic, wasn't it? Really.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But there we are. So, so what's coming on iPlayer at Christmas? Something about the war between the sand and the we, or something like that.
Yes, yeah. That's a much better title, I have to say.
Thank you.
Yes,
I'll copyright that.
the war between the land and the sea here. Thank you, Sydney, Uncle Sydney. Thank you for that.
Uncle Sydney, yeah, Uncle Sydney in the background.
He's
Shout
woken
out
up
to
again.
him.
That's fine. That's good. Okay. Now, I think that's quite an interesting poster. You know, I'm not expecting this to be any good, but visually, that's to give them the benefit of the doubt. That's quite interesting. I know what you're going to say they're not sea devils. I completely agree. But the actual that's New York, isn't it? I think they're heading towards.
Yeah.
As far as I can see from the picture, and it looked visually great. But the thing is, I thought this was coming next year, not December. That's the intriguing part of it.
I don't think they know their arse from their elbow, really. 1 minute it was coming this summer, then it was next year. Now it's Christmas and everything else. Yeah, and the fact that it's just dropping again, I think this is something that JT had us talking about a few months back, with the suggestion that it was going to drop straight to iPlayer, which I think there were a lot of protestations about. So that's another one I think that Whose Views called correctly at the time. Going straight to iPlayer is quite an embarrassment, really, isn't it?
Is it definitely going straight to iPlayer, or is it not just going to be after episode 1 and then they'll drop the rest of it? But they do that with a lot of shows, whether good or bad, unfortunately, I think. So I don't think it's just entirely the fact it might be shite. But
I mean, when you look at that poster, though, I mean, as you look at, if that's New York in the distance and that's the Statue of Liberty, then it's looking out to sea. So I'm assuming they're trying to say that sea levels have risen. Although the water does tend to be roughly that level anyway. In which case, what are they walking on, really? Because they're probably in about 200 feet of water there. So what are they walking on?
Well, if they are fish people, sea devils, whatever, they're probably treading water with their feet, with their flippers or whatever, so they can swim. Obviously, clearly, or another analogy that they're like Jesus and they can walk on water. Perhaps that's maybe
very possibly. Yeah. And maybe they'll come onto the balcony at some point and wave a tentacle. Who knows?
Yeah, if you'll pardon the expression. But the thing is, interestingly, if Uncle Sydney, can you put the other picture of the sea devils back just for a minute, please? Thank you. There we. Thank you very much. Yeah, you're a star. Now look at these creatures here. I think the creatures look great. They're quite a good makeup, got a good effect. The only thing is, if they are meant to be sea devils, I think they're crap if they're sea devils, but they're great if they were a new creation, because they look visually great. You know, I don't like the fact that at least that they've trimmed, if they are sea devils, they've trimmed their fins at the back of the head. You know,
I think they look like they do look like they have beaks, like the sea devils did. Although why?
Like turtles,
I don't know where she kind of fits in, because she's obviously a female something. But
this was we talked about before. It's a bit of surf and turf in this particular story, isn't there?
Yeah. I mean, were they suggesting that her and Toby's character possibly are something like that? I don't know.
Will that get around the fact that he's playing a straight man if he's having a relationship with a fish
person?
Well,
outrageous if he is playing a straight man, because you know that entire mantra of straight people can't play gay parts. Then gay actors shouldn't really be playing straight parts. Let's keep it fair. But you know, we'll see on that one. That's for a review situation, isn't it? But yeah, I mean, the monsters in the background look okay, but really, I'd be interested to find out what their backstory is if they're not sea devils, because I can't see the Silurians and sea devils who did coexist for millennia living side by side with these and not knowing about them. So
I hope
it's going to be interesting.
I hope they're not going to do what they did with the Silurians they had in Hungry Earth, Cold Blood, the Matt Smith episode, but they take the mask off
Mm,
because it looks like potentially it could be similar. If you think about, imagine the female on the front there with a mask on, similar to that, and she took it off. It could look very similar, don't you think?
could
Potentially,
it
yeah,
could? I mean, the fins at the side look different on her. They look more
yeah,
like
yeah,
Spock ears on her, don't they?
yeah, a
Whereas
little bit, yeah.
they're more
They're like
sort of
that
like.
film, Shape of Water. Have you seen that film, The Shape of Water?
I've not seen that actually. No.
I think I'm in the minority here, but it's a great film. Some lovely moments, and this kind of sea creature, very akin to the creature from the Black Lagoon, who's had a bit of a relationship with this fantastic deaf and dumb girl, which is a fantastic um, film. But this is maybe about a love story as well, kind of based on a little bit like Romeo and Juliet, a bit as far as I understand from
Okay.
what I've heard. Apparently, as
Okay.
long as there's no singing like West Side Story, it'll be fine.
I wouldn't put anything past this. I mean,
Yeah.
it's it'll be an interesting curio, won't it? And it'll give us something else to talk about. But yeah, I don't think the BBC know what to do with it really, and I think they've found a slot probably to keep the December slot ready for Doctor Who next year. So they don't say that they've missed a year or anything like that.
It's possibly that, but they've not missed a year because they obviously had the awful season 2 we had to contend with earlier on in the year. But I
Yeah.
wonder why it's been shown now here in the UK, but apparently not being shown in on Disney Plus until February or March or something, unless they've got lots of shows premiering in December of their own. They don't want to have any crap muddying the waters. I don't know, but
Could it be that Disney just don't care? Could it be that they just don't care and have said to the BBC, the deal is done. We're not doing any more. Do what you like. It allows them to shut the door on it, and
Yeah,
they might use
yeah.
it as a late night filler or something like that, or put it on. Like they did some Doctor Who sometimes when the sports cancelled. They might just pop that on.
Well, I remember. Well, I hope not. I remember when they did Class, that another fantastic
Oh,
spin-off
yeah.
from Doctor Who, and they showed that like at 11:15 at night or something. I don't know if you remember that back in Capaldi's time. The best thing about that was that Capaldi appeared in one episode. Yeah, Philip, you're right. It's a great film. Yeah, great film. Yeah,
I must watch it.
It-
I must watch
yeah.
it.
I really liked it. I must admit. Yeah, if you can get it on somewhere to rent from somewhere, you should watch it. It's really good. Yeah.
Right. I like the actress that's. Are we allowed to say actress anymore? Would somebody be butthurt if you say actress? Does it just have to be actor now, thespian? But I do
Thespian
like
sounds worse, but
doesn't it really? I do like the
Yeah.
person who plays the lead female character in that film. She was in the first two Paddingtons, wasn't she?
I believe so. Yeah, yeah. I've
Yeah,
forgotten her name
yeah,
off the top of my head, but she is really good. She is really good. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Credit where credit's due. Yeah.
yeah.
So the sea devil thing, the land between the moor and the sea. Well, I've got the way around. But the
Just rolls off the tongue, doesn't it?
it does. It's such a trippy title. But I'm wondering whether contractually, because of the placement of it, whether you think it's rubbish or not, is the fact that whether or not they've tried to find a way to distance themselves from Disney, because I think they announced Disney's leaving the project, as it were, and then they announced the Christmas special and this. So I
Mm.
wondered if there's a contractual thing to cut off the time between Disney finishing and Doctor Who starting again with another streamer or another production based on the contract
Mm.
they established with Disney for the Shooty 2 series, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it does. I don't think we'll ever know for sure, though. To be honest, I'm just looking at the article that you shared on this one. Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah, we'll arrive on iPlayer and BBC One this December. My
Yeah.
bad on that one, Paul. You were quite right.
That's all right. That's all right.
And
But I
it's
think they might
released
do that
Europe.
one first episode, then drop the rest of it, and I think that's madness if you're trying to promote. It's like the the Doctor Who fiasco with the ratings. I don't think the ratings would be much better just by word of mouth because the shooty stuff was shite. It is actually interesting that they still do this. But if you want viewers to watch it, you want to make it special, so they have to tune in for it and watch it on the night, and that's how you get
Yeah.
viewers to create an event television thing. And I think that still happens. We've
Well,
talked about this already with Christmas, with Gavin and
yeah.
Stacey, etc., with Wallace and Gromit, all that kind of stuff. You know, it can still be done if there's an interest in the product.
I mean, they did it right. I know it wasn't Christmas, but they did it right with one of the Torchwoods, didn't they? Children of Earth, when they
Yeah,
did that across 5 nights.
yeah,
That worked really well, and that was event television for a lot of people. I mean, Doctor Who was in its heyday at that time, anyway,
yeah,
and it went going. But I'm just looking now. Showrunner Russell T Davis said, "This is a huge, spectacular Christmas treat with heroes and monsters and battles and romance."
yeah.
In a world on the edge of disaster, and remember, watch the seas. I presume he means the watery seas and not the letter C's, because I could think of a few right now. But yeah. So he's making it out like it's a Christmas treat, like it was always planned for Christmas, and we know that's bollocks, don't we?
Well, I wonder. I did see someone speculating somewhere else online that there's a possibility they might show it in that kind of, that kind of the zone between Christmas and New Year, where everyone's thinking, "What do we do?" Because it's not really a holiday. There's a gap in the middle, kind of
Yeah.
thing, and they might show it then. Which would be interesting. But no one will be watching. Everyone's asleep or whatever they're doing at that point because they're all hibernating after Christmas.
Too much turkey. Or just
Too much turkey
sleep.
and sherry. Yeah, and
Yeah.
sherry trifle. Yeah.
We have another super chat from Lex. Thank you so much, Lex. Question for Ian and Paul. If you can pick an actor to play the Doctor in Doctor Who would be your choice? I'm going to put that one straight to you, Paul, because it gives me time to think.
Thank you for that, Ian. That's very kind of you, swine.
You are welcome, sir.
I'll get you back later. It's fine. Let me think. Well, Toby Stevens, who was Robert Stevens' son, who was married to Maggie Smith. That's her son, or was her son. I think he's a fabulous actor. I think originally he may have been in the running for it at one point. I think he would be superb because if he takes after his mum and dad, he's a superb actor. I think trying to find somebody who has the gravitas or the kind of persona like Tom or Matt Smith is a hard act to follow. So you need something like that to have a quality, a quirkiness that the Doctor has generally. You need something like that, But Toby Stevens is a great actor, can do the gravitas, can probably do some of the comedy as well. But someone who's got credibility, someone who's an actor, not like Shooty was a model. So it's someone that's got gravitas, someone can act, someone who's cast properly. And I've said this many times. Russell keeps saying that any actor can play Doctor Who. I don't think that's true. Only certain actors can play it who can understand the character. So it has to be somebody who understands the character, and a certain type of actor can only play the part. Not any Tom, Dick, or Harry, or Jodie Shooty, or I've forgotten the other woman's name. Who played
Joe Martin.
Joe Martin.
Jodie, Joe, or Shooty. Or
Yeah,
Billy, let's be
or
honest.
Billy. Yeah.
I know Tom Baker said once that it was actor proof, but they've really proved now that it isn't. Definitely. For me, I've always liked an actor who was in Brassic, but was also in Preacher, not Reacher, Preacher. In Preacher, he played a vampire, and it's an actor called Joe Gilgun. I thought he plays quite a good character in Preacher. Certainly, that's where I first came across him. I've seen him a bit in Brassic, but I have not watched much of that. Or I think he was up for it before, wasn't he? Or approached or whatever. Sam West, was it Sam West?
I think Sam West would be great, but I think as well there's this kind of thing about making the Doctor really young, which I know it's hard. I find when the Doctor is younger than me, I find it difficult to compute a little bit. That's
with Gilgun in Preacher, he was playing a vampire that was 200 years old or thereabouts. and he did it really well. So there you've got somebody that's not really quite human and that's well over 100 years old, and he did it really, really well. So I think he can carry it off, and he must be in his 40s odd now. So it's not like your Matt Smith. I'm just out of nappies or anything.
Though Matt Smith,
Matt
Smith really, really surprised me, because I thought, and I've said this many times, I thought he's 12, he can't play it, but he was wonderful, and I ate my words, definitely,
yeah. No, you're absolutely right. But quite a few suggestions coming through there, isn't there? Kirsty, Matthew Good, so I can daydream and hopefully would. Yes, we need it to go back to proper Doctor Who and none of that.
Yeah. As
crap that
JT used to say, no hanky panky in the TARDIS. That's what we want to go back to. Yeah.
And he wasn't wrong, was he?
Yeah. No. I'm still recovering from that cup of cocoa the Doctor made in the Aztecs, to be honest. That started it, honestly, I tell you.
That was ridiculous. That was just so overtly sexual. It was horrendous.
Yeah.
Now, you did send me a couple of other articles, didn't you? So we've looked at that one with the MAGA and stuff. We've talked about the Christmas special, but Doctor Who legend reveals what he'd change if he returned to the series. What's this about?
Right, this one's a bit of an old story, but I think because we've been on and off a bit, we kind of missed out on it a little bit. Was Philip Hinchcliffe saying what Doctor Who should be like if he was going to run it, and this is interesting. If he came back to do, he's never been asked, which is weird. Of all the producers, they've had Barry Letts back, things like that. If they could get Philip back as an advisor for the show, that'd be superb. If they could, like executive producer, that'd be brilliant. But he said, which I think is interesting coming from him, that in order to tell the story of Doctor Who, it needs to be stretched out maybe to 25-minute episodes. And JT said this many times as well. Going back to episodic format is a great idea. And they could spread it over 4, 6 parts, whatever, and make it a longer narrative, and don't feel quite so rushed to tie it up in the last 10 minutes of a 45-minute episode, so there's more time to explore it. And I think it's a great idea. I don't know how you feel about that.
So he was speaking at the BFI South Bank event for the launch of the season 13 Blu-ray set, wasn't he? Looking at this, I think he's absolutely right. I've got a lot of time for Philip Hinchcliffe. Did I tell you that I was standing in the bar with him?
Yes, you did mention it last time. Yes,
just the two of us. It was quite an intimate moment. It was one that'll, But I think that man knew and still does know how to produce good Doctor Who. In fact, no, I'm going to alter that. He knows how to produce exceptional Doctor Who. He understands Doctor Who. He understands the ethos of Doctor Who and how to produce it and what goes together to make it what it is. And I would argue Graham Williams, he had other pressures on him, so he couldn't continue that, unfortunately. And for what he had and the pressures that he was on and the lack of money that he had when he did it, I think Graham Williams did really well because he still produced some absolute pearlers. But from that point, I don't think anybody has produced Doctor Who as good as Philip Hinchcliffe did.
As consistently good,
yeah. And that's me as a Pertwee fan. That Hinchcliffe era with Robert Holmes was the absolute peak that Doctor Who ever got to, in my opinion. And you can carve that on my gravestone as I never want to die, of course, but you can carve it on my gravestone.
You can do the Tom Baker thing and have Ian 66 ... Don't fill in the final date. That's what we're going to do. Yeah. Sorry.
But I think he's absolutely right. Episodic format, completely. Howie's never been consulted, but then again, they're never going to consult him when RTD's around because RTD thinks he's right about everything, so he's never going to listen anyway. He would just overrule. What you need is somebody to sit above RTD and slap him down. But then I don't think RTD could take it, and he would probably walk, which would be no bad thing.
Well, I think I remember reading when Barry Letts was involved in season 18, and then initially kind of a little bit in 19 as well. The J&T wasn't keen on having someone breathing down his neck and criticising him. I understand that you want to make your own mark on it, but you have to try and take advice to try and learn from your mistakes a little bit if you're starting out in something like that. You know what I mean? And I think someone has to be able to say no to Russell in order to make that work. And that was the main
Yeah.
problem the last series and the series before, that he got away with absolute murder, literally. So,
Well, he did, didn't he? And
but he killed Doctor Who. Yeah. So
the ruins that we have now
Yeah.
show what happens when RTD has nobody in control, no checks and no balances.
yeah.
Lex, thank you again, Lex. Yes, bring back 25-minute episodes with 25 to 26 episodes, or with 4 or 6-part stories. Start, middle, and end. Absolutely agree. One of the things that Doctor Who, classic Doctor Who, is always remembered for is the quality of its cliffhangers.
Yeah.
And that sting as the theme kicked in at the end was wonderful, and is sadly long missed. Really, I think.
It's funny, having been watching, I don't know if you've watched as a return to season 13 on the Blu-ray box set. There's a wonderful documentary with Toby Haydock presenting it, as brilliant as ever, Toby. And he was
Yeah, very
a very good, wonderfully funny man, and very you can see his love for Doctor Who coming through every pore of his body. But
very. I like the way he's very humble as well.
he's very humble, yeah.
Yeah.
And I was going to say Philip Hinchcliffe as well is very critical of his work and very humble, and he has, he's a very talented man, but he can see the flaws in what he made himself. He's got humility, which is wonderful. But looking through that, and I don't want to have too many spoilers. People have not seen it. But there's a lovely moment with Gabriel Wolf. I don't know if you got to that bit in it, and when
I
he
haven't
does,
yet. Not yet.
I won't spoil it. So, but look at the documentary, superb. I won't spoil it for you. But some lovely guest stars in that particular documentary, and it's another cracker from Toby, I have to say.
I do like the stuff that Toby produces for these box
Yeah,
sets.
they're very
I
good.
also like his little shows on the radio, and he did certain Doctor Who oriented shows, and they're really good, worth digging out on iPlayer.
Well, I've got on CD Moth Say My Doctor Who Scarf, the one-man show that he did. It's brilliant, absolutely wonderful stuff.
That was when he was first breaking out onto the certainly as far as Doctor Who media is concerned. That was his breakout piece, wasn't it? But
and it's
did that
fantastic.
feature,
I didn't see the live show, but the recording of it's superb. Really is nice.
it has Louise Jameson in it, doesn't he, as his mum?
She does the voice of his mum, and
Yeah,
plays herself, I think, on it too. I think.
Yeah, I wasn't suggesting she was actually his mum.
No, I meant
Just
because it's slightly fictitious in places. It's not all completely autobiographic. I think, you know what I mean. So it's a bit of artistic license, I think, in it as well. So
yeah, he's a very talented but very humble person. So that's
yeah.
a bit of love for Toby Haydock there.
Yeah.
Now we don't have much longer, do we? Because Uncle Sydney has to have a lie down and go for some pills.
I heard he's got a date, but we'll keep that to ourselves. But anyway, keep taking the tablets, Uncle Sydney. You'll be fine. Yeah. So, yeah.
We only have a few more minutes, but I do believe it's a 44-year anniversary of something, Paul.
Yes, I can't believe this. I feel so old, but 44 years today was, well, probably tomorrow actually, was the start of the 5 Faces of Doctor Who on BBC Two, showing episode 1 of Unearthly Child. And I missed the start of it because I had a paper round at that point, and I missed the beginning of it. So and I didn't have a video recorder at that point, so I missed the start of it. Yeah, so yeah.
That must have been traumatic. I remember,
really traumatic,
even now, I can remember clearly the BBC announcers thing. Now, the 5 Faces of Doctor Who, and then he went up a pitch, said, with William Hartnell in the first, and it's just like, oh my God, I can't believe I am actually about to watch this. It was just, it was other repeat series followed it, didn't they? Doctor Who and the Monsters the year after and things like that. But it was the 5 Faces of Doctor Who that really did it. And that first episode is still incredible television, I think.
Yeah. I think it's interesting because I think it's for a lot of fans of our vintage. I know I keep saying that is actually that this, if you weren't a staunch Doctor Who fan before this really made you a fan, because seeing Hartnell and Troughton and more Pertwee as well, because I remember some Pertwee, not all of it, but some of it, but. Season 12 was my real time of getting into Doctor Who properly as a real fan, really. and been really obsessed with it. By the time I got to see Hartnell and Troughton and the Three Doctors again, Carnival of Monsters, and then Legopolis again as well was superb.
Yeah.
Loved it, superb stuff.
Carnival and Three Doctors were just before my time as well, so it was absolutely fantastic stuff. Before we run out of time, though, I want to say thank you to Mark Greaves for your super chat. Jason Isaacs played General Zhukov as a Yorkshireman in The Death of Stalin. I don't know what that says about us Yorkshire people, but there we are. Because he said Yorkshiremen are the bluntest guys around, so the next Doctor has got to be from Yorkshire. Mark Greaves, I cannot disagree with that at all. That's a real good idea. And
his
I totally
catchphrase
agree.
will be, "That shite, Davros," or something like that. So.
All right, it's all bollocks. But I'm afraid that has to be us. We have to wrap it up there on the hour mark. We do have Uncle Sydney to think about. His welfare is our primary concern this evening. And thank you to Uncle Sydney for keeping us going in the background. We've got one from Lex as well. Bring back CFAX. Remember CFAX? Wonderful stuff. Yes, bring back CFAX.
I remember a CFAX Dalek was when it had the. If you watch this subtitles for the next program for Doctor Who, and there's a CFAX Dalek, it looked like it was made out of Lego. It was really weird,
I think
Fantastic
Lego would have
stuff.
been probably a bit better, but there we are.
Probably, yeah.
But thank you to everybody for joining us in this shortened episode this week. But we will be back next week, and watch out on Wednesday, for we are able now, after its restoration, to broadcast the 1966 missing episode of Who's Views, which was found in an old film can behind a chippy in Australia. So that is going out on Wednesday. So keep an eye out for that, please. Wednesday at 8 p.m. And apart from that, all that remains to be said is it's a good night from me.
And it's a good night from him. Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Oh, you'll be delighted and somewhat surprised to know that you can now own Who's Views merchandise. Yes, a range of mugs, t-shirts, hats, sweatshirts, cuddly toys, a cheer please, and other goodies, all putting official Doctor Who merchandise to shame. It's now available from the Who's Views shop. You can find it on the store tab on the channel or by scanning that squiggly thing there.